And according to this little tab, we're live. So who wants to give a recap?
I can give what of it I remember. We started out in the Eldine Reaches that were probably all dying now because Olean the living tree, who had been alive for thousands of years and ruled over the forest, had been transformed into some sort of Dalkir-like beast by the Dalkir itself. While we were there mourning the loss of Petrie, we met Sergeant General Colonel Kip, the war criminal, who came for some reason that I don't know if he told us to kill Petrie because he really, really hated Petrie. And upon hearing Petrie was gone, he became very insulting to us. He was riding this bear when he came in, and when he went to discipline the bear flinched. So clearly there's a history of animal abuse there. We didn't want to get overwhelmed by the Dalkir or anything else going on in that forest, so we used, I think it's a gem, but I always sort of forget, to transport ourselves back to the handsome mansion. Once there, we decided, I think Martha went to bed, like immediately went to bed. The rest of us had little tasks to perform that required us to go to Ironside. So we all loaded up in the Elatrix and went there, including Sergeant General Colonel Kip, who had, in the meantime, he had encountered the Beholder, who used a beam on him as he was bent on killing it. The beam caused him to fall in love with it. So he wound up taking it with him into Ironsides. In Ironsides, I remember we went to Quentin the tailor because Ivar wanted to buy a disguise for Colmar, so that a princess hat with a giant veil, so that Colmar, the now alien-headed creature with a elven woman's body, can travel.
Which
in
we know
public.
because of the pointed nipples.
Right. At least we were unaware of what other features might be typically elven. But the pointed nipples in that sheer dress she was buried in certainly gave it away. So we got the hat. Ivar also got a new sleeping bag because he lost his magic one. Ivar went to Devin Lepune at McCormick's Folly. Apparently we have like a full-time adventurer / portrait artist on our payroll. So he had commissioned him to make 2 portraits of Petrie, one for the Handsome Mansion and one for the Guild Hall itself. People went to see Flamekeeper Stenson and report that Petrie was dead again, I guess. But
and to introduce him
right
to this
and
whatever person.
I introduced him to Kip, and he was horrified to meet Kip, the war criminal. The watch was out looking for people because Quentin the tailor was both frightened by Colmar and Colmar's frightening appearance, but also they were carrying around that Beholder with them, who was following them around, I guess. So the guard came out, but they managed to talk down the guard. That's about all I remember. I don't remember where we went after that.
I think that was about it. We started to head home. And I'm also pretty certain that the whole town is becoming sick with the plague, and we probably have gotten it too.
Yeah, they're all going to turn, and we're going to have to kill everyone.
Yeah.
Hence, that's why High Major Commodore, 1st Legion, 3rd Multiplication, Double Admiral, Artillery Vanguard Company, Kip, has joined us, because he will just wholesale scorched earth Ironside and kill everybody, and we won't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Well, it's all loose. It's like that. You know that village? All werewolves.
Yes.
Control burn.
In fact, since we're all in the Elatrix heading home, and he is conspicuously absent, he may just be doing it anyway, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then when he comes back next session, we can be like, he can tell us how he killed everybody in the village. And we could be like, just because of the sickness? And he'll be like, what sickness?
Yeah. Totally.
So, a couple of things I just want to add is Omerta stole some of the mushroom juice.
Yeah, that's right.
And
forgot the
also
mushroom
tried
I stole all of the mushroom juice. Whatever flask he had, I took it.
and also tried to get Quentin to drink some, though Quentin was wise to test it or Omerta's ways. And also,
Somehow even a natural 20 beats out my 30 deception.
I mean, natural 20. Come on.
Yeah, that's like the only natural 20 Quentin's going to get. Ever.
Yeah, ever.
But I'm so damn good. He should have given in. Should have just given in.
But then, additionally, in addition to learning that Kip is a war criminal, you also learn that he was excommunicated from the Church of the Silver Flame. So there's that. So, Martha is currently at the Handsome Mansion. He may be continuing to rest in his bed comfortably over with Charles watching over him after suffering the severe injuries that he had from the encounter with at the LD Reaches. Now, I believe everybody else has been up pretty much all night previous, and now a good portion of the day. So,
quick question.
Everybody,
Were people beat up like from all that battle, or was everybody fairly well to do?
I was pretty beat up. I had healed myself a lot.
Gotcha.
I was beat up and then got healed for a fair bit, but I wasn't like at death's door. I was exhausted at one point, but that got cured.
Gotcha. All right. I was just wondering thematically because I just imagine coming back after this battle and like everyone's just exhausted. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna go to town. It was like,
Yeah, well,
was I the only one that was almost dead, or was everybody there?
yeah,
I
so
mean,
that's a good point. You guys didn't do a long rest in between getting back from the Elding Reaches and getting to the Handsome Mansion and then going back to Ironside. So, Kurt, Peter, Tony, give me Constitution saves. See if you guys take on a level of exhaustion. DC 15.
Well, I fail. But I'm just going to use some of my Infernal Conduit to cure it.
I got a 16.
All right.
I also like how you said that's a good point, as if our exhaustion is all Dustin's fault.
I figured it hasn't been like that long, but
Well, I mean,
we woke up, we ran, we fought, we ran a little bit more, we teleported here, and then we're here. Like it's not like it's been like fucking 12 hours.
it's been quite a while because it takes a couple hours to get to Ironside from the Handsome Mansion and get back and everything. And considering everything that you guys have been through, there's a reasonable chance that you're just really, really tired, especially given your injuries. Colmar, how did you do with the exhaustion?
17 on the die.
Okay. You guys are able to. You're all feeling
two other things.
very.
Go ahead.
What?
There were two other things that I forgot. One was we did attach the spearhead to the shaft that Olean gave us. So I don't know that any of us use a spear. There's a problem. Maybe Kip will be a spear user. But my guess is no, that if he was ever proficient with spear, he will specifically bang himself in the head until he forgets that out of spite.
Yeah,
The other thing was Colmar provided. We put together like a package of all of Petrie's effects, which Colmar gave to his next of kin, which Colmar took to be Flamekeeper Stenson.
Dun dun dun.
Flamekeeper Stenson then said he would get it to his actual next of kin.
Yes. So who knows if he was just like saying that or whatever, but
Yeah, that's a good point about the spear user. I mean, since it's supposed to be like a mystical spear, that is like kind of like a legendary weapon of sorts. It might be feasible that maybe it comes with an ability to become proficient in spears.
well, I mean,
like,
spears are a simple weapon, aren't they?
Not the way they should be used.
Yes, I mean, I know how to use them. I just prefer a weapon with a little more finesse.
Right, they're a simple weapon, but they're also like a strength-based weapon. So, like Ivar knows how to use simple weapons. He could use it, but his 8 strength is not going to make him the most effective spear wielder of all time.
Fair enough. So yeah, that's a bridge you'll have to cross at some point. So yeah, you guys who are traveling in the Latrix, you're all pretty exhausted. You're battle weary as well as just regular weary from everything that's been going on. But you're able to find some kind of inner reserves to continue to push on without too much drain on your body or debilitation on your senses. But as you are going through the traversing the roads between Ironside and the Handsome Mansion, the 3 of you give me perception checks.
So, well, I rolled a 3, so that would be a 5.
Ugh.
2 minus 1.
7 minus 1.
Ugh.
We are all so tired.
All right, so it just looks like a normal countryside road.
That was Kip.
There's nothing
unless there's-
outside the ordinary.
I do have advantage when it comes to something that's hidden.
It's not outright hidden.
Hidden or invisible.
Hidden and
I should
plain
say.
sight.
disguised.
You know what? I'll give it to you. Give me the advantage.
All right, let me roll a different fucking die here.
Roll a non-metal one or a metal one?
Well, I have a metal and 2 wooden, so Mike, 1, 2, or 3.
3.
All right. Fuck. Yeah. Move on.
Seriously?
Yeah.
God damn it.
I rolled 1 higher. So 8 minus 1.
Okay. So you guys are plowing through the countryside. The Elatrix going strong, since it is a magical contraption that doesn't require a horse to be drawn. It takes about 2 hours between Ironside and the Handsome Mansion, moving at top speed with the Elatrix. So it's probably about late evening by the time that you all get back to the Handsome Mansion. Of course, roaming the grounds, you see the strange zombie bullet Zalshock's hybrid walking around / semi-floating, kind of like moon hopping, I guess, on its 4 weird legs, with Zelshock's air bladder kind of tucked away within the body of the bullet. And then you return. Martha, what have you been doing? Have you just been sleeping this entire time? Or
how long have they been gone?
Probably about 8 hours.
Yeah, so around this time, Marthal would be getting up. So you'd see him. You would see him in the kitchen, toiling over a boiling pot of water.
Sounds like Martha got a long rest in.
Preparation. He's preparing tea. He knows it's night, so he's not gonna get too wild, but he's preparing himself a cup of tea.
Okay. In the meanwhile, I think you guys already got a short rest anyways while you were walking or trying to get away from the horrors in the sacred orchard. But if it is beneficial, you can get another short rest while you are on the Elatrix. So you guys enter the Hanson Mansion, smelling the wonderful stew that Martha seems to be preparing. Because right now, at this point, any food is pretty enticing.
I was boiling water, but I could also make some stew.
Oh,
Actually, Martha doesn't really make stew. That's more Charles's thing.
okay, so Charles is making stew while you're boiling water for tea. You said,
Yeah,
I wasn't paying enough attention.
that's fair.
We think it's stew. So.
Oh, it's good to see you guys. How was town?
It was fine. It was as it always
Diseased, I
is.
believe.
Oh, by the way, you gotta go see the bursar or whoever's in charge of the guild, as apparently he's been having problems scraping together money from time to time, and also there've been like messages that they don't know how to get to you. So I told him to start leaving messages with Charles.
Well, I suppose we could donate some of our hoard.
Yeah, that makes sense. We could give him some amount to hold, like in a strong box.
Did they have any mention of how much they were looking for?
No, I was just there to talk to the portrait artist, but he said that you should get in touch with whoever you put in charge.
All right. So that's fair. So as what Martha will do then is he goes over to one of the drawers and opens it, and inside are some envelopes and a pen and like a quill and some ink, and he starts penning a letter. Like, I'll have Charles take it in the morning. He's exhausted from caring for me.
While the boys are away, yeah.
Oh, sir, it's nothing. It's not exhausting at all, sir.
Oh yeah. You know, you look tired. Too tired for a trip to the town. Well, it's not urgent, so it'll wait till the morning.
It is quite late, sir, so I do appreciate your consideration. Of course, if you asked me to, I would do it.
Maybe we could send Baba. Is Baba still around?
Baba is off looking for the cure for Tacitus's petrification.
Ah, yes, that's right. So we don't need an excuse to send him away.
Not the petrification. the other effect that made him petrify himself.
The mask.
Yeah.
All right, hold on 1 second, guys. I realize now I haven't directly connected my computer, and it's already froze once, so...
Yeah, I forgot about that. That you petrified yourself because of the evil growing within you.
Mm-hmm.
Very Dark Phoenix-like.
I ain't gonna fly myself into the sun.
She eventually disintegrated herself using some alien weapon. to save the universe from her.
Right. Oh yeah, because the sun didn't kill her, right?
Right. She
right.
flew into the sun and ate it, killing 5 billion people nearby.
Have you guys seen Dark Phoenix?
No, the movie comes out this week. I don't think it's going to follow the comic book story, though. I mean, I'm sure there'll be moments that do, but
Yeah, that's a weird storyline. Anyways, so night is beginning to fall. All of a sudden, there is what sounds like an explosion down in the basement.
So Martha's gonna what kind of explosion? Is it like shaking the house explosion?
Oh yeah,
it's
just the very foundation of the entire mansion.
Okay, so
no rest for the wicked, I guess.
Swamp gas.
Cosmic rays. So I'll run down to the basement. Or at least
is anybody following Martha, or is it just Martha?
I'll come along. I'm a little depleted, but
I will tiredly plod after him. I just hope it wasn't that septic system elemental nexus that exploded.
Hopefully, it didn't break out.
So when you go down into the basement, you see the ephemeral form of Baba, kind of doubled over. And even though you don't understand why a spirit might need to breathe in the first place, he seems to be kind of puffing and puffing as if he's out of breath. You also notice several glyphs, not really painted, but more splattered over the statue of Tacitus.
I just looked at Martha. When's the last time you fed your cat?
This is Baba.
We've met.
Okay.
What looks like it exploded? Is there anything, or everything looks fine?
Things are knocked around. It looks as if there was kind of like maybe a strong wind kind of circulated around, but there's no actual real damage that might suggest an actual explosion.
Baba, what's wrong? You look terrible, more than usual.
Baba feels that time on mortal coil may be limited. May finally succumb to going to Delur. That is neither here nor there. Important matters to discuss.
What news do you have regarding the grip of Tacitus?
I found Tacitus's consciousness drifting through how you say astral plane of sorts. He spoke with me. Very bad things on the horizon. Oh.
How does one find
exhausted?
consciousness?
Very difficultly, like needle in mile-long haystack. But Baba is very good.
So is he planning on coming back to help us with any of this stuff that's very bad?
Niet. Well, sort of. He's glyphs. Almost done. We'll allow Tacitus to speak directly to you. 1 second. And Baba touches one of the glyphs, and then they begin glowing in with a crimson light. And then suddenly, Tacitus's head kind of shifts, and it does so in a way where the mask kind of remains facing where it is, but his head still turns, and then Tacitus's face emerges from the side of his head.
Oh, great. I'm not even, flesh and bone, and he's still body mutilating me.
No escape.
And then Tacitus says, "Hi, everyone."
Tacitus, where are you? This is not expected.
Indeed.
The mask, it contains a very dark entity with great power.
Then why did you put it on?
I felt it was the only way to beat Zelda. It was a weapon. I thought at the time that it didn't matter the cost.
Well, I have
Literally,
good news. There's a Dalkir is definitely here. It's basically destroyed the Eldeen Reaches. We have need for another dark entity for a last-ditch effort to kill it. Feel free to come back anytime.
No. This would not be good, but yes, I am aware of the Dalkir. It is. I even know its name. It is Umboros, the shadow that rots.
Umboros, the shadow that what?
Rots.
Oh, I thought it was the shadow that rocks.
I thought it rides. I'm like, okay, what is it riding?
That sounds like a motorcycle gang.
Listen, I don't have much time. I don't know if you were aware, but apparently I share my spirit with that of a quarry spirit. You probably aren't familiar, but that is the reason why I am able to divert some of my concentration in order to speak with you. You see, this petrification is taxing. Even though I am in this state, my mind is still going. And in order to maintain this petrification, to limit the ability of this dark spirit and its influence on the world, I must constantly concentrate on the energies to hold this spell. Thankfully, this quarry spirit within me can share some of that burden, which is why I'm able to talk to you now. But
What do you know of Umboros besides it's the shadow that rots? How did it? Is this a Dalkir of significance?
it is one of the few remaining Dalkir on this world. Thousands of years ago, the Dakani hobgoblins and goblins and bugbears battled with the Dalkir, as well as the gatekeeper druids. And most of them were able to be banished back to Zoriat or destroyed. But the select few were too powerful and had to be imprisoned. This this is one of those. But in this time, while I've been petrified, and the spirit of this entity that exists within the mask, it is, I can see some of its thoughts and its memories, and I was able to glean some things from it that allowed me to travel out, use it with my soul to find a bit of information. I'm not sure if you are aware, but there is something called the Draconic Prophecy. They are
Draconic
often,
prophecy.
yes, oftentimes they are glimpses of what has passed and what has yet to occur, possibilities. And there is a prophecy about a time when this Delkir would risk destroying the entire world. And a long time ago, a dragon in Arganessen, whose name has been lost to history, studied the Draconic prophecy and learned of this thing, and became obsessed with it, fearing that it would undo all of creation. And so it tried to make preparation. And it created weapons and armor that it was given to warriors from Arganessen that worshipped the dragons to travel to Corvair and seek out Zelshax specifically. The dragon knew that Zelshax would destroy these warriors, but also knew that with the seeds of magic embedded by the dragon, that Zelshax, a creature, a child of this Delkir, and one able to warp reality over time, would create weapons able to hurt this specific Delkir. And that the death of Zelshax would trigger a catalyst. But a final ritual needs to be completed before the weapons would be ready to be used against the Delkir, Umberos.
What is this ritual?
It's there's as Tacitus is speaking, words are kind of being carved into the floor magically that outline the exact recipe, I guess you could say, of the ritual. And Tacitus says these are the ingredients as well as the process that must be completed in order to access the weapons. But the prophecy does speak of heroes capable of destroying Umberos. And it also speaks of how Umberos plans to corrupt the world. He is seeking the world tree, a tree that is said to have been planted within the skin of Eberron itself, the primordial dragon whose corpse created the entire world. It is the seed of knowledge of all things of Eberron, of all life. If Umberos is able to touch this tree and corrupt it, it will create an anathema that ruins the entire world. It'll make the Mournland seem like party favor in comparison.
This world tree, it isn't Olean, is it? Because if so, I have some bad news.
No, it is not Olean, but that is why Umbros chose to attack Olean. Not only did Umbros have a score to settle with Olean, but Olean is the only creature in existence that knows where the world tree is, and is the only creature that is capable of accessing the area.
I don't think that's entirely true anymore. I believe that's what he imparted upon us. The knowledge of how to get there.
Then you are possibly the only people in the entire world capable of stopping Umbro.
Oh, well.
And I just have to point out that Kip does not have this knowledge.
So he does not have to come with us. Got it. Do we know what this... Did you say quarry spirit?
Corey.
Corey.
Do we know what that is?
It's very unlikely.
I have an unlikely link to weird things. I don't know.
Yeah, you could roll. You can roll knowledge. We'll do Arcana. Anyone else could also make the attempt, but it's going to be at disadvantage.
I like those odds.
16.
Oh man,
I got 9.
I had a nat 20.
Omar walks in the room. All this talking's keeping him up, so he's finding out what the hell's going on.
I have a 20 not natural.
The walls and ceilings of this handsome mansion are paper thin.
I mean, we couldn't afford thick walls.
It wasn't the rumbling that woke him.
Like the explosion he slept through.
Correct.
He's probably used to the explosions.
He's getting used to that weird elven meditation thing that he's got to do.
Is it that, like, but is it like double? What's the time frame on that? Because like he's still got the weird head, so like part Fey ancestry right now. Doesn't work out.
The
head has to sleep.
It's a whole thing.
Does the acid blood from the head mix with the elven blood?
Yep.
Is the body slowly decaying?
Oh yeah, his entire body is slowly decaying. But you know, everything that he is all mixed up together. So it's all its own thing now. Whatever that thing is left for you guys to figure out. But Martha, you said you got a not natural 20,
Correct.
and then Tacitus, you got a 16.
Yeah.
So, Martha, you recall from the time when you guys were doing the research on the different planes at the Tower of 12.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Omerta, you were getting a sense from your sword, which you know what that means, of whispers regarding another plane of existence, the plane of dreams. And upon this plane, there are spirits that exist called the quarry. And you also, it's not really well known broadly, but there are certain individuals who are said to be shit, I should know this word. It's in the news every day. Those people running from danger. Refugees.
Oh, Robin.
Yes.
Oh.
There are certain refugees from the Delcor, the realm of dreams, who have inhabited the bodies of humans to create an offshoot race known as the Kalishtar.
Yeah, that's what Tesla.
and through the generations, the quarry spirit becomes diluted, but there is a union between the human soul and the fraction of the quarry spirit that originally inhabited these people ages ago.
Right.
So you guys are now aware that Tacitus apparently, perhaps unknowingly, was one of these.
Indeed. Okay.
Ivar is still not aware of that, but he is puzzled. He is puzzled that it apparently takes like your own mental energy to stay petrified. Really limits the usefulness of that flesh to stone spell.
Right. Alrighty. Well, that's nice. We acquired some weapons from Zal Shox's lair. Yeah.
Yep. They're all purple.
Well, they're made of biesh, which is a purple metal. It's kind of soft as far as metals go, but there are magical enchantments that can be used, and it does. You guys know from your adventuring that biesh seems to have some reactive properties when used against creatures from Zoriat or their creation.
Right. Okay.
Man, I wish we would have brought these to the Eldeen Reaches.
Well, we have some here.
Yes, but these could have come in handy.
Well, I mean, they wouldn't have been handy since we didn't know this ritual to activate them. But now we have it. Perhaps with a night's rest, Colmar and I may be able to perform this ritual and get us some superpowered weapons.
If you guys would like to sleep, I just slept, but I could try to take a look and study them for a few hours tonight.
So, as you guys are looking at this thing that has been written into the floor, it requires a few interesting ingredients as part of the ritual, and I'm sending that to you guys now.
Is Charles with us down there?
Blood of a halfling.
There you
Charles
go.
is down there with you.
One war criminal.
One unspoiled bird.
Charles, you may
Peach?
not
What we
want
need?
to. You may not want to clean this up. All this new carving on the floor. Just leave it there. We don't want to lose that.
Yes, sir, of course. Although you can see a kind of like tick in Charles as another facet of the handsome mansion seems to be the face.
It's a shame, Charles. That was a beautiful hardwood floor, but we'll have to do a renovation project. All this adventuring has at least netted us some sort of income beyond what we already had, so it should more than enough cover it.
The essence of a disgraced conqueror. I'm not jerking a guy off.
What, you don't have mage hand?
No, I do not. I mean, I guess if he's good looking, perhaps we'll say.
Yep. You do have the mushroom juice.
Everything's reversed, so we'll see what happens. Am I still affected by that right now? I know it's been a while, so.
No, you're good.
All right.
So
It's still in the pocket.
a few of them do seem like they could refer to Kip.
Right. Touched
The
by
blood
madness.
touched by madness would awaken the dark morning.
Or the essence of a disgraced conqueror.
Right. If we kill the bear after we kill Kip, there's the treasured possession without an owner. We just have to, we do well by someone, not by the guy who we killed.
Sure, because he probably killed the previous owner. Yeah.
Right. I don't know about the skin of a man who no longer wears his own. Oh God, we could get Petrie's
changeling.
skin. We have to go find Petrie's skin.
I don't
Gotta find
suppose
Colmar's skin.
that's supposed to find Colmar's skin, or
Right.
maybe we could chip some of Tacitus's skin off, shave it.
So
I'm still here, guys. No.
the Tacitus, he begins kind of like, you see him like his face grimace. I must go. The strain is getting too great. And then his face shifts back into the mask, and he becomes inert once more.
Does he know that I need that mask back?
I'm afraid he doesn't.
You sure
At
you
least
want it?
we weren't able to communicate that in time.
Seems to drive a man to make himself stoned. Sure you want it back.
So these things, these ingredients, does it I guess we're gonna have to start doing some searching. The first obvious place is the guild hall. I'm sure we could find a devoted imposter, somebody's madness, and we could find probably we could probably find at least good candidates for each 6 of these clues. And since we're part owners, we could be able to.
Everybody, give me an intelligence check.
I think we need to search ourselves first, Marthal, and I think for number 1, you qualify.
Self-reflection is a waste of time.
We rolling in intelligence? Jesus fucking Christ. We can't roll shit.
It's intelligence check.
19.
Yeah.
I haven't broken 10 yet.
Ivar?
19.
Martha?
15.
Okay.
And I do agree with Colmar that maybe some of these could refer to some of us, although it's hard to say because so many of them look like they point to us killing Kip.
The treasured possession is probably something from the young boy's room. If there's anything left. Perhaps one of those busts we can recover.
Well, why my blood? Why couldn't I have gotten hair or something? I'm assuming this madness is the Dalkir, which it grasped me so long ago. So I guess I would count for number 1. Who's the devoted imposter?
I wouldn't say Omerta, but I would say Omerta.
I'm no imposter.
That's something an imposter would say.
What am I imposting?
Her?
What?
The impost her.
I mean, which of us would be the skin of a man who no longer wears his own? We could find Komar, Petrie skin, but they were both back in the Eldine Reaches where they died. I don't know if we want to go back there to collect some of the skin.
Might be dangerous, but I possibly might be able to get it.
Well, is it
We haven't
referring?
have any other bodies
Yeah,
around.
Is it referring to the skin of the original body or the skin of the new body?
I believe I can take care of both.
Sure, he's had some of his own skin around. He seems the type.
Do you have vials of skin?
No.
Books. Books upon books.
See, I took it to mean the skin of someone no longer wearing his own skin. So skin is sort of referring to the original skin that's now being worn. But I could see the other reading.
Well, I have both, so.
He no longer wears his own. He wears somebody else's. Were
I
you
had to-
born with the in the dwarven body?
Yes, I retired it.
He probably needs this one. I'm sure it'll be fine. If the
It
if the ritual doesn't work, then we know.
it just says skin. It doesn't say the entire body. I'm sure I could take a section off and graft something else on there.
Yeah.
Maybe Charles would like to make a donation.
Charles already gave up enough of his skin.
You
You
see Charles kind of uncomfortably like scratch his crotch.
Pull the space balls.
I will cover my mouth and whisper to Omerta, I wonder if Charles is a treasured possession without an owner.
I just lean down. Again, I believe it is the young boy's possessions that has recently departed us.
But why would Ivar awaken the dark morning?
What exactly are they meaning this dark morning? Is this a phrase we're familiar with?
Well, you do know that, I mean, the event that created the Mournland was called the Day of Mourning.
Right. Well, I mean, I might not necessarily know that, but
You would know that. I mean, you might not call it the same thing necessarily, but it's not a far leap for you, especially in your travels.
yeah.
While you came to find McCormick's Folly, that this is like the common interpretation of that event that happened not too far away from where you come from.
Okay.
Oh, I know where we can get the hair of a devoted imposter. I met him when we were just in Ardsards. I'm gonna go back to him and get some of his hair as soon as we need it. He was bald though, so I may have to take out some of his beard hair. But it doesn't really specify, so I'm sure that'll be fine.
Who did you meet?
Long story, no need to go into it, but I can get it. When push comes to shove, I can get it.
Barthos kind of like turns and looks to Charles and just kind of raises his eyebrows.
And they say I'm the bad one.
Charles kind of looks back and is kind of shrugs.
So I guess
And then you also hear Kip muttering off in the distance. What do you mean, disgraced conqueror? I'm not disgraced. There's no disgrace about me.
Yeah, that man I am not jerking off. He can do it himself.
I don't need no help jerking off. We're gonna kill this conversation though.
Your arms are rather short.
My arms are just fine.
The
Talk
image.
to quarterly. Talk to
image-
quarterly over there. And he points at Ivar.
I just think of Kip and the bear, and then I'm thinking of Super Troopers, and now I got that in my head.
Hey, bear fucker.
You doing all right back there? Oh yeah. So I guess
I'm not as sure about the dark morning one. Now, do any of us harbor a secret desire to cause the day of mourning again?
Not that I'm aware of.
Can I insight Omerta?
Go for it.
Because by process of elimination, Omerta looks like he's the one we're missing from the list.
Which one is Ivar?
Ivar said he can get you the hair of the devoted imposter.
Yep. Treasured possession. That would be Petrie.
Colmar, what'd you roll for your insight?
11.
You're pretty confident that Omerta is telling the truth.
Could be, possibly be Kip.
It could be a play on words, and it's something from Elmorn.
Right.
I still have all Elmorn's hair, which is why I was looking for a wig maker when we went into town, but they really didn't have a wig maker, so I couldn't make my perfect Elmorn wig.
Omerta did summon that demon that helped us fight.
Yes, what about it?
I mean, there's no shame in wanting to awaken the dark morning.
Is there not?
I don't think that is my goal.
You wish to awaken the
Perhaps the DM can clarify that for me.
Well,
I know interesting things might happen, but I don't know if it's a whole day of mourning sort of thing.
Well, I would say I guess you would fit on this list, and if you don't, you would probably have to. Whoever doesn't fit on the list would then be in charge of getting the essence from the disgraced conqueror.
You heard that, Charles.
What if Charles is the one who wants to awaken the dark morning?
Like, I'm tired of these people's shit. I lost a testicle to these motherfuckers.
He lost both.
And then Charles is like, he shakes his head. He's like, no. I've lost many old companions and acquaintances in the original Day of Mourning. I would never want such a thing to be repeated.
We know. They're just being facetious, right?
Or is that,
I roll insight.
Or is the sacrifice Tacitus?
Is it above a 10? Did you hit above a 10?
What's that? What am I
Your
insight? I rolled a 1. So
he's so lying. No, Charles is lying. You're absolutely positive.
Watch that, man. I'll just take a small cutting knife and just take just a slight strand of hair. There you go.
The twist I want is for Charles to be the ultimate bad guy of the whole campaign.
So do we have Petrie's weapon, or did that get eaten and
I
disappear?
don't think anybody stopped to pick up anything. Well, Petrie was in spirit form when he got absorbed. So I wouldn't assume he had like physical equipment at that point.
He had
No,
a
but
whole
he did
load of
give.
things that we just gave to that flame keeper. Perhaps we should go. Somebody should go back
I
into
do
town.
have one of his autograph issues of Paladin Beat magazine.
Well,
That is now a treasured possession without an owner. I mean, it's at least valuable in some circles.
That may help Kip with his essence.
You mean help? I don't need no help. I can do it on my own. I'll show you. You want me to show you? I'll show you.
Go show us to the other room.
But if that's happening, I'm at least going to take a drink first. I'm not going to mess up my very nice hair entirely. So there's a little bit of hair. Here you go.
Well, I'm going to go get some rest, and then I'm going to go back into town and get that hair from the devoted imposter.
Clearly, I am the imposter. I am no member of your folly, McCormick's or otherwise.
Yet you are tied with us, therefore you are bound to our folly, regardless of whether or not you are a member of it.
It is quite curious, these very specific items needed, that they would involve us specifically, is peculiar.
Is it?
It's certainly what I wouldn't use this to recreate the day of mourning. Well, I've done my part. I'm going to bed now. After I eat some of that soup.
Martha's going to pull up a chair and just kind of study these. Since he's had a full rest in, he's going to be up for a little while thinking and trying to rack his brain and see if he can come up with anything for like kind of any more specifics on these particular phrases.
Yeah. So while you're racking your brain, you're pretty confident that you have an answer to most of them. There are only two that really kind of defy your understanding. So I'm gonna send you an email real quick.
It's the disgraced emperor one that's really getting me. Disgraced conqueror.
You're blending games together now.
Right. we gotta get that guy next week. that one dwarf lady, I'm pretty sure has already got all his essence.
Oh, she collected it in every crevice.
But you may get a disease or two trying to get it back from her.
Yeah. It's that airborne illness.
I mean, even if we can figure out who wants to bring back the dark morning, we need that person to make some sort of sacrifice, or we sacrifice them. I'm unclear on how voluntary this sacrifice is going to be.
Well, it says a sacrifice by. So that would include. It doesn't necessarily mean that a person has to be sacrificed. It just says this person who would wake in the dark morning needs to sacrifice something. It could be their love. It could be their life. It could be sacrificing waking up.
Their hope to bring their daughter back from the Mournlands.
Yeah.
They'll give up like meat on Fridays from now on.
They have to participate in a 40-day Lent every year.
So Ivar would go up to his new digs in Petrie's room and go to sleep.
Okay.
At this point, he's finding all of this just hilarious, and so he realizes he must be overtired, and so a little loopy.
Oh, one more thing, Dustin.
Make sure my clothes have dried. Hold on.
By the way, just as a reminder to you guys, the way that I don't know if I have said it in a long while, but the way that we've explained Elmorn's absence is that he's back in Vendicar or whatever that town was that was right outside the Mournland, because he needed to take care of some things there since it was close to that spirit that claims to be his daughter. So he hasn't just been kind of following the group around. He's actually been absent.
I remember he was gone. I forgot why. Or what the reason was, so that's good. So, he's got Martha was kind of sitting there like with a very like kind of Sean Bean kind of look. He's like,
Are you next to die then?
Yeah, I hope not. I hope I'm not the sacrifice. So he's like, one is me. Two, I'm pretty sure is you, Colmar. I think this possession, the only possessions that could possibly be are ones that would have been Petrie's. So I think we need to go pay a visit back to Flamekeeper Stenson to figure out which one of those possessions we need. And,
yeah, I don't remember finding anything where I was like, wow, guess I forget everything that was in there. But there was only like one thing that struck me as like, other than his copies of magazines and posters, but I don't remember what it was.
It was like a bust, like a tiny bust or something. That's what I remember.
Right, that was in there. There was something else where like he had some personal notes in it, but I don't remember exactly what it was. There was one thing where I was like, well, if I were his family, I guess I would want to have this back. They might want to have the little personal bust, I suppose.
What was that one thing?
That's what I don't recall. Like I said, it was something where it wasn't like a diary exactly, but where he did record a few of his own thoughts.
Gotcha.
But I didn't think to write that down, whatever it was.
Well,
So that's a good candidate because he did kind of keep a diary or journal or something.
Because he made a joke like, oh, a lot of it is like how much he hates Flamekeeper Stenson. A lot of the entries were about that. That is truly the essence of Petrie.
Everything in spite of Flamekeeper Stenson.
That's right. Everything he accomplished was just to lord it over Flamekeeper Stenson.
the last one is Kip, which means that we have to bring him with us.
Can't we just like perform the ritual here and enchant all the weapons and then be done with him?
Well, I suppose, although it'd feel bad just to use somebody like that. Unless he likes being used. And I'm not sure of the others.
Well, I'm off asleep at this point.
Colmar and Tacitus, what are you guys doing? While Martha's examining and racking his brain.
I mean, it sounds like Tacitus is exploring the astral plane.
I mean, Omerta.
He went to sleep too.
Yeah, I'm back to go to bed.
Okay, so you guys are all resting then.
Mm-hmm.
Martha was the only one dwelling on his thoughts regarding what's going on. So he's dwelling. You guys get to sleep, and then you guys wake up feeling fairly refreshed the next morning. Charles is already up preparing some breakfast for everybody. You're muted, Kurt.
You're still muted.
After breakfast, I would probably go back downstairs and also ruminate over the ones I don't understand.
Yeah. Get my long rest in here.
And like Martha would have, he would have been up for a little bit, but then he would have gone back to bed after a couple hours, just so that he would be kind of like on a normal time with everybody.
All right, so everybody slept relatively well in the evening. Passed pretty uneventfully, although it was nice to be back in your own bed.
I've never slept in that bed before.
Fair enough. So, what is it that you guys wanted to spend the morning doing?
Well, I think we need to make a trip back to town.
Other than these particular ingredients, what does the ritual say we have to do with them?
Mostly it's it's like a sacrificial burning of all these things. So creating a circle within which the fire is burning, and each one of these things needs to be placed within. And when each thing is placed within, there are special words from some kind of unknown language that must be recited. as that's happening. So the rest of the ritual is pretty mundane and easy enough to accomplish. It does require a couple of runes to be drawn around the fire in special inks, but nothing that is not easily accessible within Colmar's magical arsenal. Because it's very it's very similar to the inks and things that are needed to normally write in spell books, but Colmar specifically, he keeps his spell book as kind of a tattoos, which, despite him changing into this body, the tattoos from his original body have been transcribed into the flesh of his current one as well.
So did somebody go into town?
No, we were talking about how we need to, but we haven't really gone anywhere yet.
Do we perhaps wish to acquire, if they have them there, some diamonds? A method for revival. I possess that ability, by the way.
That's fair. Do we have any diamonds in the hoard? And like I kind of
wait. Omerta, you said that you can revive the dead?
Yeah, I've got Revivify.
That requires diamonds?
Yeah, like 300 gold worth, usually. Hence the reason why I was trying to gather diamonds from in Kurt's game.
Well, I remember that, yeah, but I didn't know that Revivify specifically required diamonds. I thought it was mostly resurrection, true resurrection.
Also raise dead. It's just more and more diamonds the higher up you go that chain.
Yeah. It's the more diamonds for the longer somebody's been dead, basically.
Right.
Revivifies for 10 days, I think. No, sorry, within the last minute. Yeah. And 300 gold worth of diamonds.
And greater restoration requires 100 gold pieces worth of diamond dust, which is actually a shit ton of diamond dust because diamond dust isn't really that valuable.
Well, you take some diamonds that are, 500 gold worth, and you smash them up.
Right, and that leaves you with about 5 gold pieces worth of diamond dust.
Yeah, don't breathe that stuff in. I imagine it's terrible on the lungs. Like super asbestos.
I will ask if anybody has the ability to. Can anybody detect poisons or diseases by chance? There did seem to be a lot of sick people in town, and I'd rather us not all be subject to whatever they had.
It's true. Maybe we should send Charles.
I heard that, Ivar.
Well, I assume you don't want Mothal getting sick. Besides, it's just like allergies or something. It's like the sniffles.
Like, don't listen to them, Charles. It's probably worse than that.
Very good, sir.
I do possess the ability to remove diseases as well, so that's why I wish to confirm. I just have no method of detection, is all.
Well, I have to go in to find that imposter I was talking about, so I'll go.
Do you need to make such a long journey to find this imposter?
Well, sure, he's in town, so that's where I have to be.
Probably.
How do you know he's in town?
Met him last time I was there, as I mentioned, in an off-camera encounter. They can confirm I was on my own for a while
Right.
while I was, getting the portraits made. And
Perhaps I will go with you. See if I can.
well,
acquire...
he would be really nervous to find out I was telling people he's an imposter. So I'm gonna have to approach him alone. He's a little bit wanted, you see. So he almost certainly would not meet with me unless I came alone.
See if I can reacquire the possessions from this flame keeper.
Yes. Hopefully he
Yeah,
hasn't
makes sense.
spent it already.
Yeah, I don't think anything was too valuable, but hopefully he hasn't sent it along back to wherever Petrie was from.
It seemed he was a bit worse for wear. I don't believe he was doing much after we left.
Should
That's
we
true.
all
He was
go?
sick.
Difficult to say.
Strength in numbers.
Perhaps
That's
if we have to
certainly
fight.
Why would we have to fight in town now? Even
Those
if we
guards
did,
were awfully-
we'd be fighting a bunch of people who are like super tired from the flu.
I'm sure it's nothing then.
Although it would be super awesome if we fought and killed Flamekeeper Stenson when Brendan wasn't here.
Yeah. Totally deprive him of the joy.
Perhaps I'll look to the other two in the room, I guess. Martha and Colmar, and say, perhaps one of you wish to see if you can acquire these diamonds then.
Yes. We have to go to the town anyway in order to settle affairs for the Matrix. At the Elatrix. Yeah. To settle affairs with the guild hall. So I can acquire some diamonds. But are you sure that we don't have diamonds already? We did pull a lot of treasure from Zelshox's lair. I would be shocked if there weren't diamonds in that pile.
Is Martha out drinking anything this morning?
You see a cup of coffee.
Okay. I take a keen look at it and see if it's the mushroom juice.
Give me an investigation check.
Hold on, let me roll that sleight of hand.
Yeah. Just spike the pot of coffee.
Sleight of hand 20, cumulative.
Nat 20.
20, not natural.
All right.
We're at a standstill.
It definitely doesn't seem like coffee.
I feel pretty good.
Everybody's sizes are swapped.
So, are you Martha? Or is he Martha? Yeah, it's you. And he points to Ivar.
Yeah, I'm Marfowl. Now let's get the Elatrix and go.
All right.
All right, you guys are all going into town.
Yep.
Suppose so.
All right. So, Colmar goes and gets the Elatrix ready, and after probably about 10-20 minutes, the caravan is ready to take everybody, and it's waiting outside. You all go and you begin making your way towards town. Everybody give me a perception check.
Well,
Correct. 12.
rolling the same numbers.
16.
Oh,
Is that with the advantage? Merita?
Oh, yeah, hold on. Let me roll again. Yeah, 16.
Okay. And then, Martha, what was yours?
11.
11.
Okay. So, Omerta, you noticed something. I'm going to send it to you.
Guys, I noticed something.
Describe in 3 words what you notice.
Unusual. Out of place. Oh, wait. Forget the first word. Out of place. That's 3 words.
Well, I mean, this area was did have the dimension that did have doors to the private dimension that we originally. I forgot the name of the cult we were fighting, but there was like pocket dimensions or entrances to them littered around this area. So it that's something to keep in mind if you see something that's out of place, because it disappeared for quite a while, but there was no guarantee that it wouldn't come back.
Interesting.
What was that you were saying, Dustin? Sorry.
I was just telling them about the cult that we fought and how they had pocket dimensions they had like entrances to one of their pocket dimensions that was in this area, and while it's been gone for some time, there was nothing to say that it couldn't come back.
Right. Yeah.
Mushroom
So I
juice.
sent that email, Tony.
Yeah. So I'll just I'll look to him like, yeah, that's nice. Are these vines normally so thorny and spore covered? Spore filled, I should say.
Spore filled.
Yes, some of the buds on these vines seem to explode, releasing spores into the air. I think we may have found our culprit for our sickness in town. Perhaps we should set fire, yes?
Yes, we should burn it all. Actually.
Have at thee.
So Martha is going to he's gonna start firebolting the trees.
Okay. So you firebolt the trees along the way. As you go along the way, you get kind of a sense of what Omerta was talking about. And it seems that every single shrub and tree that you encounter along the way, and even some of the smaller flowers, all seem to be entangled in these wisp-like vines that seem to kind of thread around like black veins around these plants, and like it seems like the entire landscape from here to Ironside, they're all covered with it. So I mean, you begin firebolting so much that although the vegetation is not dense enough to like create like a massive fire that would just spread uncontrollably. Especially because much of the vegetation is still to some degree living and wet. You're beginning to tire from casting it so often. So give me a Constitution saving throw.
Were any of the things carved into the floor of the basement about destroying the countryside with fire? Was there something about that?
It's a 22.
Laying waste to the countryside? Anything?
Not that you recall. Not that anybody else recalls. So Martha, you don't take on a level of exhaustion, but you're like sweating buckets, and you're getting to the point where it's getting difficult to summon those magic, even though it is a cantrip.
So I'll sit down and be like, none of it's like, Kolmar, you remember these things, don't you?
From what?
Don't you remember the spores in the air?
Is this from
Fort Deep Dark?
Oh, yes. This is not good.
What happened with the spores in the air in Fort Deep Dark?
Well, there was an entire town that was at the outside of Fort Deep Dark that got destroyed, and there was no. That's what we were initially sent to investigate when we ended up finding the Dalkir at the cause of it. And there was no, we didn't find any bodies, at least any living bodies. We did find some undead that the spores reanimated. They came out at night in the air, and anything caught, I believe it was at night anyway, and anything caught outside of the time became undead or grew or suffered some horrible fate. We always stayed inside at night when we were out, so we tried to avoid it. But it makes me feel bad. It makes me feel tense that this is happening on the way to Ironside.
How far away was this fort exactly?
How far away is Fort Deep Dark from here?
4 hours outside of Ironside. Probably.
The opposite direction, or because we're on the south.
Let me pull up the map.
And did you see anybody who had this sickness? Did it appear to be like allergies?
We only met a little girl, and she was not sick. She was the only living person we encountered in that empty town.
But you were sent there to like investigate people getting sick?
We were there to investigate what happened to the town. There was no, I don't recall there being any kind of issues with people being sick. However, that was also a long time ago, and much has happened since. So it's possible that some of the finer details are out of recollection. It's been a long 3 years.
All right, so the Handsome Mansion is pretty much west of Ironside. Fort Deep Dark. No, wait a minute.
Is Ironside like
Okay, so
where's it?
Ironside is on the map is really lakeside, and Irontown doesn't exist. So the Hanson Mansion is actually a bit southwest of Ironside, and then Fort Deep Dark is southeast of the Hanson Mansion and almost directly south of Ironside.
I believe there was a mist also associated with it, but the spores are what is dangerous.
Just take my shirt up over the mouth, nose. I'll keep an eye on how far north this stuff seems to go, or west or northeast, I guess, is the direction we're heading. So I'll just see if seems to be an apparent line or border to this stuff. So
There doesn't seem to be any kind of border necessarily. It seems to be pretty well spread as far as you can see around the path that you normally take between the Hanson Mansion and Ironside. But you do notice that the closer you get to Ironside, the thicker it gets.
Yeah. Okay.
Until eventually the air almost seems to take on a greenish tint with the number of spores floating in the air.
Now, have we noticed it being like harder to breathe or that being affected?
Well, you guys are inside the Elatrix. So, and while the Elatrix does have windows, they're windows of glass. So there is a physical barrier between you and the outside right now.
Well, I suppose we could try to fashion ourselves masks. Maybe break a Tanglefoot bag over our faces.
You want to suffocate?
Just a little, just a little bit, not the whole thing. Just the
I
tip.
just want a little bit of glue and garbage over my mouth.
Yeah.
Not the whole thing.
Everybody just take a quick whiff and we'll be fine.
Bunch of glue sniffers.
Alrighty. Well.
Okay, so
sadly, I did have a magical air vessel that could create breathable atmosphere around me for a distance of 10 feet. But we went ahead and forgot it and left it behind in the forest of the Elden Reaches.
That would have been handy.
So as you begin approaching Ironside, you begin noticing some strange things. One, you don't see any people. Two, you see a lot of destruction. It seems like lots of doors have been ripped off their hinges. There's garbage, belongings scattered along the sides of the road. There's a lot of it looks like it almost looks like the most raucous parade ever just went through town. So basically a pride parade.
Or have the sanitation workers striked again?
It's not like Flamekeeper Sensen to lay them off like that. or to have them in such a position where they would want to strike.
Flamekeeper was sick. He had called off all of his masses.
He called off the entire congregation.
All right, hold on. I have to explain something. Once upon a time, back when I really made some regretful decisions, I may have been engaged to a Jehovah's Witness. In my defense, she was from Brazil,
Oh, so
but
yeah.
they call their services congregation. So, there.
Is that is that a dog over at your apartment?
That's my dog wanting to go outside, so I'll be right back.
Oh,
All right. That's probably a good spot for us to take a quick break.
Indeed.
Now, in hindsight, I wish my friend, the devoted imposter, didn't have a beard and mustache so they could forever wonder where the hair came from.
I thought you'd get a kick out of these.
For a second there, I was going to like reveal the whole backstory, but then I realized I don't have to go that far.
Actually, last session, there's been a number of clues.
I'm much more personally focused on the Dark Morning one because I can see it as sort of like a reference to Elmorn. Like there are many reasons I could see it as a reference to Elmorn, including the morning reference and the Mornlands and his daughter and all that stuff. But part of me wants to find out that Omerta is trying to recreate the day of mourning.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah. Tony's reaction, however, has sort of convinced me at least Tony is unaware of it, or he personally rolled really well on a deception check. But hey, maybe Omerta has desires Tony doesn't know about.
Could be. I guess his last character had another consciousness dwelling within him.
Was Tacitus always Kalashtar? Because I did not realize that.
Not until the thing came out. Like, dude, that's perfect. Like, it's exactly what I had sort of imagined for my character. And so I switched it.
The thing. So you mean the new Eberron thing that was released? That kind of kickstarted everything for 5e.
Yeah. I didn't know there was other like special Eberron only fucking races.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
Warforged, Changelings, Kalashtar, and
Shifters.
Shifters. By the way, Kurt, losing Solastri as a person had me shook for like 2 days after that game. Like,
Yeah,
it hurt
like I
me
said,
as
it
a
was sort
person
of-
way more than I expected it to.
As I said, I kind of had like a long term. I was never sure. You never know what a party's going to do, so I was never sure it was really going to come up. But I did have this like long term story arc in mind that involved it, and that might have involved you losing it potentially or sacrificing it. I was like, but now, forget all that.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of fun. The anarchist in me enjoyed seeing that. Like, all right, well, the dice totally decided, and now we just got to come up with something new.
So on a metagame level, I was like, okay, we're going to go into this session. We're going to do this like early, like way up front. So there's going to be like plenty of action points. And he'll probably make the save anyway because Paladin. But
So 1, I rolled shitty, and 2, for no reason, I decided, let's let the dice slide.
yeah.
Who needs action points?
Yeah.
And then it was like, after I said it, I'm like, wait a minute. Luciosi's going to sleep. He's helpless. So sweet. Oh no! But it was already too late.
It's gonna.
Immediately.
I'm gonna wait to use my action points for something that matter.
Well, I mean, I also thought that
modifier.
I personally would have thought it was suspicious that the DM had a picture ready to go for the attractive housemaid.
I mean, here I am just thinking you're really thorough, but now I'll call into question everything. And I'm never gonna lose an opportunity to throw an action point. Oh, I lost my perception check. Action point that shit. I'm using them early and often.
And like this happened the exact same night that because Zarius was just feeling he was tired, so he accidentally let slip that you go blind if your weapon's not near you. I'm like, shit. So, all right, that's I shouldn't have shared that. I'm gonna have to fix that tomorrow.
Well, I mean, one thing that you might think about, or Lucia Rossi might think about, is he could have uncovered this woman if he sort of periodically pinged the room looking for fiends.
Yeah.
To trust me.
There was I lost it.
You could do it like your charisma number of times a day.
Yeah. Charisma +1.
Okay.
Which is like, yeah.
So
there's no
really,
reason I
so
kept
it would have been
using it.
harder. Would have been harder for you then. I got a little spoiled playing Breaker in the other game, in Peter's game, because he had a charisma of 20. So basically it was like costless for him to use it. It just never was all that useful. The only time it was useful was in determining that Hesh's follower was in fact Koatoa that he murdered and raised from the dead.
But I mean, like, it's not an insignificant number. I still have 4 uses per day, which is still a good amount.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it was just one of those things. There was like a lot of because the other thing is T-Hole was running away from Strongjaw.
Yeah.
And he could have chosen any room to go into. Had he chosen to go into Lucia Rossi's room to hide, he would have at least like been there.
Yeah. And then Dina's off banging some harlot Contadina.
But so it was really like a kind of a perfect storm of things that allowed that to happen.
Zarius is just gone. Z's flying.
Right. And then in hindsight, I was like, maybe Zarius's map starts flashing or something. But it didn't wake him up.
I've been keeping this fucking thing on me. I'm like, this is gonna be handy, Kevin. Like, I'm thinking maybe it'll pinpoint like another interesting, strong magic item, and we use it. Yeah. Now it's blank. So apparently it solely tracks that fucking weapon. So
There's still a dot on it. It's not entirely blank. It still detects as magical.
But yeah, I've already shared with Kurt that there may be some interesting personality developments in Lucia Rossi moving forward. But now that Peter's back, let's jump back into McCormick's Folly. So you guys are riding into town. The air has a greenish tint from the number of spores that are hanging in the air, carried by the wind. So in some places, based on just the wind, the way that the wind is kind of blowing, there are some areas that off in the distance seem to be a much darker green area and the almost like a fog of spores. And like I said, the town looks like either the most raucous parade has traveled through, or it's like kind of a almost post-apocalyptic wasteland with the level of destruction around. But one thing that you do notice, strangely, is despite the chaos that seems to have swept through the city, there are no bodies.
Perhaps we stop short of the actual city and discuss this. I'd rather not be in the city and then be swarmed from all sides.
I say we should ride the electrics right up to the door of Flamekeeper Stenson's house, kick the door in, pull him out of there if he's okay. Otherwise, just find all Petrie stuff.
And then leave. I'm actually with Ivar here. The longer we delay getting these effects, which is at this point, the guild hall is probably gone, so we no longer need to talk to them about it, loaning them money, wasted investment.
Wait, this entire town seems to be deserted, but all of a sudden, but you're worried about the investment.
Well, it would have been wasted. So at least we have that.
They're the other adventurers in the city, yes? I mean, would they not be the most qualified to defend themselves against such an incident?
We should probably go to the guild hall first.
Yeah, I am okay swinging past the guild hall and trying to pick up survivors.
I don't suppose any of these are on the edge of the city. We can skirt around.
We can do that.
Well,
I don't want to.
Flamekeeper Stenson's church, where he also lives, is a little bit on the outskirts of town. And the reason being because the Church of the Silver Flame, although it is widely practiced throughout Corvair, it's the second most popular religion outside of the only Beatby following the pantheon of the Sovereign Host. It is a religion that is really not very widely accepted within Karnath, particularly, in part because of the history between Karnath and Thrain, in part because of the relationship between the Karnathi government and the Blood of Baal religion. So, in general, the Church of the Silver Flame is not really well spread in Karnath, but in this town, while there is a humble church, it is kind of on the outskirts of town, and only a small percentage of the people here in Ironside actually worship. So it did see a bit of an uptick after the Blood of Baal incident, because some people were looking for guidance, and Flamekeeper Stenson was able to offer some peace of mind for those most in conflict and discord.
How sturdy is the Elatrix?
That was going to be my next question. Can we run over people?
Colma.
I was wondering if we could crash through a wall to get into Flamekeeper Stenson so we don't have to leave.
Why do we need to do that? I will just go out and knock on his door, and if he doesn't come out, I will just open it and go in.
Because we're walking in the mist.
Yeah, that should be no problem.
Bring down the wall, the mist will come inside. It's the potential threats in the streets that I would prefer to just move through.
However, if you feel like in your state, Kolmar, that you can withstand this mist, given your abilities, then you are more than welcome to try. However, by opening the door, you're going to let some of the mist in anyway, even if you close it.
Oh, that was probably true if we crashed through the wall, but yeah, okay, do it the non-dramatic way.
Ivor just wants the APC to crash through the wall and save everybody.
Actually, Kurt just wants to smash through the wall of Flamekeeper Stinson's house so that we can say, we're here to save you.
Somewhere on another plane, Petrie's like, yeah.
Who am I to include somebody in their theatrics? Look to Komar. Can it go through a wall?
I don't know. I've never attempted to put it through a wall.
Perhaps we should try another time then.
And Omer, this question's a good one too. Like, if we need to start running over zombies, is that okay?
Well, I mean, it would need to be properly cleaned once we return to the handsome mansion, but I guess for the time it can be used for running over
Charles
things.
fella to do it.
He's not thorough enough.
Yeah.
So-
What about who was that? Who was the other guy who had been in the mansion before? I forget. He was like an alchemist.
Morley?
Morley. Is he somebody we need to save?
Well, he may be useful. Knowing Morley, he's probably out. We'll probably find him out wandering around. He's probably inhaling it.
He's probably what?
Inhaling the mist.
Well, if you're anywhere outside of this car, then yes, you are probably inhaling it.
So anyway, let's. You were saying we should go to the guild hall first.
I think we should check on the guild hall first.
Fair. But let's not linger too long.
Just so that you guys can get a sense of what the Elatrix looks like, in case it's been a while since it's been described. It looks very much like a 19th century stagecoach, but just doesn't require a horse to push it or pull it, and can be driven both from outside and from within. So, and Colmar is the only person that's trained to really operate the Elatrix. So,
What is it
just
made of? Is it made of wood or?
yeah, but it's a kind of wood that is particular to the Eldine Reaches. It's a mix of both. I want to say it's dark wood, which is very. It's almost like it's a wood that, when treated, becomes as hard as steel. But then there's also sections of the Elatrix that are made of live wood, which is wood harvested from trees specifically bred to support dryads. And even when the wood is cut and sectioned off and processed, it remains alive to some degree and evergreen.
Interesting. The Flamekeeper Stenson's abode, was it stone?
So he lived in the back of the church. There was a section of the church that was specifically made for him to dwell in. Or I can't remember if it was in the church or if it was just behind the church. There was some kind of living shack, but it's one of those.
I remember
I
it being
recall it
just
being-
behind the church.
Yeah.
Okay.
Separate from.
Okay. Likely, given Flamekeeper Stenson's desire to remain humble and everything, it was probably it's probably a wooden structure that maybe he even built himself.
Okay. I believe we can go through the wall, yes.
All right. So after we check out the guild hall, then we can drive through the wall.
Let us expedite this, I think.
God, I want to drive through some fucking walls. Screw this checking for survivor shit.
How many people can fit in this thing?
So as you guys are driving through the town towards the guild hall, everybody give me a perception check.
14.
Jesus fucking Christ.
22.
Who got over 15 other than Martha and Colmar? Ivor, did you get over 15?
14.
Okay. So both Martha and Colmar see a flash of something moving through the alley. They get a glimmer of it. I'm gonna send you guys an email with this.
Is it a Jehovah Witness?
Fuck you, Dustin.
Were they a practicing Jehovah's Witness?
Yeah.
That's weird.
It is weird.
Yeah. You have no idea.
It's weird because they
Dustin
normally stick to
does.
themselves.
Well, Dustin knows because I think you met her, didn't you, Dustin?
No.
Val?
Maybe. I'd have to. I don't remember her name, but I might remember her face.
She came to a couple of rugby things.
Oh, I mean, my friend growing up, one of my good friends was Jehovah's Witness, and so one time I got lured into the house to do a power. There was a Power magazine or whatever their magazine was.
They got a couple of them.
Yeah.
I actually was trying to in order to better understand the religion, I did regular meetings with the one guy that was local to me, who was a Jehovah's Witness, to kind of better understand. And I think he just really got to hate me because my questions were just not conducive to.
They were questions. You're not
Yes.
supposed to question. You're not supposed
Yeah.
to ask questions. What are you doing, man?
Right.
See-
There's no other interpretation of the Bible. There's just this. And if you just study it, it becomes clear.
You're just supposed to accept what they say.
See, I remember Jehovah's Witnesses used to harass us all the time. Like the same ones would always come to the door. And like I would be home, particularly when I was in college, I would be home and just would know it was them. So I didn't want to answer the door. They would ring the bell for like half an hour before giving up. Yeah,
Did
they
you
were
answer once?
super persistent. The way I finally chased them away was I was like, it was probably like 11 o'clock in the morning, but I'm in college and it was one of my days without classes. So I'm like, it's 11 in the morning. I'm still in my underwear. They've been ringing the doorbell for 15 minutes. I'm just going to go answer the door like this. But they were super nice in general.
Yeah, I mean, they're very
handing
nice
out their
people in
little
general.
their little watchtower pamphlets or whatever the hell it
Yes,
was.
that's it, the Watchtower.
Yep.
But it's ridiculous because actually each congregation, you're supposed to they like have a spreadsheet where you're supposed to track the number of people and the number of hours that you're going to do outreach to spread the word.
Maybe that's why they spend half an hour just ringing my bell.
Yep.
There's
Yeah.
more hours
time.
for them to
Yeah.
list.
We're done for the week, man.
I got thrown out of a Catholic church once for asking questions. Specifically, the question that got him was because I played D&D my whole life. I asked, how are the saints not like lesser gods? If you pray to them to like find lost things or get better from this disease or to have a safe voyage, I was like, isn't that like praying to the lesser gods? And they're like, no, it's nothing like that because they all answered to Jesus. I was like, yeah, but all the Greek lesser gods answered to Zeus. What's the difference? I was asked to leave.
That is the best thing I've heard in a long, long time, Kurt. Oh. All right, so Colmar and Martha, you guys see that thing that I sent you flitting through the alleyway. It disappears into the alleyway, but before it does, you get a glimpse of it, and that's what it looks like.
Does it did it go like straight into the alleyway, or did it like go? Did it like turn, and like we can't see it anymore, or did it
kind of like stiffed the air and then it darted into the alleyway?
So I say,
you don't get the sense that it saw you.
So I say, looks like the Dalkir are here.
What?
I saw those. I just saw one of those things that we saw at the Eldeen Reaches. One of those many things that were running us.
Yeah, I turn around and look at Ivar. My kin are here.
Yeah,
we should have brought some of those Bayeshk weapons then. Too bad we left it back at the Hanson Mansion. No turning back now, though. Full speed ahead.
Maybe we should just bypass the survivors and go straight for the FX.
If we could find some of those diamonds, that could be very handy. Would they have them there? I should ask.
I don't see why they wouldn't.
The miracle of resurrection is not a common one, I don't think, even amongst your peoples.
We have a whole room of treasure, of gems and all sorts of things. There has to be diamonds in there back at the Hanson Mansion.
I only recall a coin.
So to get at what Omerta is saying, healing magic in general is fairly rare in Eberron, although you can find it. There are certain, like, of all the people who are like actual priests, those of actual levels in cleric capable of performing miracles such as healing are fairly rare. They probably account for 10% of all priests. But there is the dragon marked house of Durasco, which is the halfling, one of the halfling houses, whose dragon mark provides them with a natural ability towards the healing art, both in terms of practicing the medicine skill and then also some ability for magical healing. But that is outside of House Durasco and some of the limited clerics. Actual healing magic is fairly rare, and just to give you guys an example of your power level in comparison to others in the world, a veteran war hero might top off at level 5 in class levels. So you guys being level 12, right?
Yep.
You guys are level 12, so you guys are like top, like 0.5% in terms of power.
You hear that, Kip? We're better than you.
That's why Kip was such an effective war criminal. He is also high level.
Yeah.
Nobody could stop him. Yeah.
Right. All those peasants, he could wipe out whole villages by himself.
Yeah.
See, it makes sense to me to
a
see.
super effective general, but I mean, his ways really rubbed Thrain the wrong way, especially in the aftermath of the Treaty of Thronehold.
It makes sense to me to still save as many people at the guild hall as we can. I mean, we can only fit so many people in the Elatrix, but maybe we should do that last so that they can. Some of them are going to want to like grab onto the outside, sit on the roof, and they're not going to make it if we have to do a stop after them. The less time they spend in the mist, the better. We'll have to go there anyway because that's where the imposter is, and I need to get that hair from him. I mean, not that I'm saying anything. Maybe for all you know, maybe Flamekeeper Stenson is the imposter.
Marthos kind of narrows his eyes and says, "Sure." All right. Well, let's head to Flamekeeper Stenson's then, and then the guild hall afterwards.
Okay. So heading towards Flamekeeper Stenson, you, as you begin to see it in the distance, the door is much like many of the other doors is ripped off the hinges. It even looks to have been shattered. And there is a bit of there are some objects that seem to have been destroyed and scattered around the threshold of the door, but inside is dark, and it otherwise seems quiet with just the green tinted air circulating around you and the whistle of wind as it carries these spores.
Very well then. Who would like to have a look around?
Not a problem.
When you say you want to look around, what does that mean?
I mean, I guess, how big is the place? Could we tell if there's anybody inside?
Not from the outside. It seems that the windows have been shuttered. And there's no light from within that you can see from the door.
Yeah, I guess sending Colmar in if Colmar's not affected by this mist. And then if he needs help, he can call for us. Or we can all go. I'm up for going.
Well, I think we should all go if we're all going to go out.
As soon as this door opens, we're all exposed to it, so...
So Martha's just going to kick the door open. Come and get me!
To the Elatrix? You're kicking the door open to the Elatrix?
Yeah, wait, like I thought we were still in the Elatrix and decided to go out of it.
Right. But the door on the house is shattered. So the only door I can think to kick open is the door to the Elatrix.
Yeah. Kick open the door to the Elatrix and say, let's just go.
All right. There's a sudden influx of spores. Everybody but Colmar, give me a Constitution save.
$16.
21.
And I'm not going to do better with a +0 to my con save, so I'll stick with 16.
I didn't expect to need this spell. Well, perhaps I'll use action points to be able to cast it here. I'd like to cast on myself protection from poison.
Okay.
So I'll cast that. I mean, poisonous spores.
Alright.
I figured maybe that'll help me.
Poisonous, sure. Yeah. Poisonous. And what was your roll?
I haven't rolled yet. I was just seeing if that would save me from having to roll.
No,
All right.
unfortunately. Not poison.
The fuck kind of bullshit spores are these?
They're whiplash
Disease?
spores.
The whiplash spores.
Ready for body horror.
That's why I kicked the door open, to give that extra whiplash.
Yep. Roll. Let's see the body horrors.
As you partially transform into an alien.
We don't need that.
No action point.
There'll be a whole party in princess hats pretty soon.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we need it in this town. I don't think.
I think I'm good with a above 20. I don't feel like mathing.
Okay. So, Marthau, Ivar, and Omerta, your breathing, because the spores are so thick, becomes labored. So it's causing a reaction in your throat. You're getting a lot of mucus. You're having to cough. Your eyes are beginning to water. Your nose is becoming stuffy. It's really difficult for you to breathe. You're able to still basically function, but you're going to be considered, which is the one that is most makes sense. Yeah, you're gonna have the poisoned condition. Now, Omerta, you cast protection from poisons. Technically, I'll give you a half of that benefit, so you are not affected on your ability checks, but you'll still be affected on your attack roll.
Okay.
So you still have a clear head, but you're still like snotting up like everybody else,
Sure.
except Kuma, who's just like fine since he doesn't really even breathe.
This is incredibly unbecoming.
All right, so you guys exit Theolatrix. What is the order that you're exiting?
Making sure all the doors are closed and it's sealed, so not more shit gets in it.
Or other
kick
people.
Kick the door open, though.
Yeah, Martha kicked the door open to Theolatrix.
Yes, when he gets out, I will close it.
Yeah, well, get out. I think we're all getting out, so.
Okay, so I'd say that Colmar, you're in the back, closing the door, making sure it's tight.
Yeah.
I'll go first.
And Martha kicked the door open, so he's going first.
Yeah.
No, I'll hand it on the shoulder. Perhaps I should go first.
Okay, so Omerta heads off Marthau. So Omerta, Marthau, Ivar, Colmar. So you walk in to Flamekeeper Stenson's home. Completely dark. The fire has long ago burned out. Although there are a couple of burning embers that are just barely able to maintain their reddish glow. Everything else seems to be completely in disarray. Now, Flamekeeper Stenson's home is largely just one room for the most part, although there is a separate place kind of where he sleeps. So there's a second. There's another doorway. That door is kind of cracked open, but it's not smashed. Everything else in this place is just trash. It looks like a tornado went through this place.
You see any chests? Like Marthal would be immediately looking to see if he could find, a locker, a chest, something where one might store effects or items.
Go ahead and make a investigation check.
Ivar's doing the same thing, but he's searching for like trash cans or things where Flamekeeper Stenson might have thrown away shit he didn't care about.
All right. Also make an investigation check.
It's a 14.
All right.
I'm just gonna look for or listen out for anything that might be living besides us.
All right. Make a perception check.
Make sure we're not jumped. 12.
So I'm gonna send you guys emails. All right. Kurt, yours is sent. All right. Dustin, yours is sent. Tony, you don't see anything living, and you don't get any signs of anything living.
Okay.
I'm sending you back an email.
It's just the big capital letters. WTF, man.
Oh, technically, you guys should have had disadvantage on those ability checks except the test. That's fine.
I rolled mine with disadvantage.
Oh, okay, perfect. Kurt, did you send it?
Yes, I did.
Why
But I
would
forgot
it be
disadvantage. Because we're all poisoned from this.
Don't worry about the disadvantage on this part. That's fine. And for Omerta, it's only for the attack rolls that you're disadvantaged right now.
I forgot about that.
Didn't get it.
Let me check.
Did you get
Says
that?
I sent it.
Did you get that thing I sent you?
I'm gonna try my phone. Oh, I got it on my phone. I don't get why. There it is now. Wow.
So it looks like maybe Flamekeeper Stenson was getting sick into his trash can. So if Petrie's stuff was in there, I think his bubbling stomach acid dissolved it.
It's not usually that quick moving.
And I see
It is sizzling, but I guess it didn't eat through the trash can. So
If it is sizzling, it is perhaps the one of these creatures.
Well, I see here, and I kind of like kick around on the ground and pull up like a dusty, bloody garment. It's like, this looks like Flamekeeper Stenson's vestments. So
maybe we should check the other room, or at least listen at the door.
yeah,
I'll go. It's cracked a little bit, so
Yeah, it opens outward.
let's have a peek in. Looks safe. Crack. Move it open. Open it more.
Okay. You see, much of the room is in similar disarray from your perspective. You can't see in the entire room from how you're looking in, unless you open it up and put your whole head through. Is that what you're doing?
Now I'm gonna put my head in there.
Okay. So
That seems
from
absurd.
your perspective,
So basically, I look. If I see nothing, I'll slowly.
okay. So before you need to get to there, you do see that from your perspective, much of this room is trashed similar to the rest of the dwelling, with the exception of what appears to be a shelf with a couple of Petrie's possessions placed neatly and properly upon them with great care,
Okay.
including his little miniature figurine of himself and
Okay.
his diary.
No feet on the ground. No sounds of commotion. Motion.
Nothing that you can hear from where you are.
Maybe if you'd stuck your whole head through the doorway, then
Then the door would have attempted to eat me or some shit. Just a hand at the ready on my blade, but very slowly move the door further and further open.
Okay.
Or actually, before I do that, I'll look back and just whisper. I see some of his things, but does anybody have any mystic hands by chance?
I'm not that kind of wizard. Unfortunately.
Very well then. And I'll just.
Hold on.
Actually, I do have a mystic hand. I lied. I forgot.
A mage hand?
I do. Yeah, I can help you. Silly me. This spores have gone to my head. So I'll conjure a mage hand to kind of go through the door.
I'll stand between him and the doorway just in case something. Keep it up high.
Yeah,
Just in
so
case there's something in there.
it's kind of like they. I'm gonna like kind of keep it at the ceiling level, kind of like that, like the Zelda, like those hands on the Legend of Zelda, and then kind of inch it down towards the the articles on the shelf.
Which one?
Which ones do we see again?
You see the journal and the figurine, which stand in stark contrast to the rest of the room that you can see from your perspective, because everything else seems absolutely trashed. Yet somehow this shelf managed to survive.
Can we tell, like, from this point, can we, is there anything that we can tell about the shelf? Like, does the shelf appear special at all?
It's hard to see because there's not really much light. You're basing all of this based on the small amount of light that's able to get through the cracks because all the windows are shut.
Which one should I grab? first?
I don't know. I did not really know the boy very well.
Well, I'll grab the journal, just in case.
Start with that if we can. Grab the other one as well.
So I'll grab the journal first.
Okay. All right. So the journal. So what does your mage hand look like when you conjure it, or does it look?
Whenever I hear mage hand, I just kind of think of like a Mickey Mouse glove. That's like how I've always pictured it. Like regardless of scenery,
Okay.
but probably be a bit more thematic.
Michael Jackson, like glittery glove.
Every time it's conjured, it goes.
Yeah.
To be a bit more thematic, probably just probably like one. It would look like my hand, but like kind of ephemeral.
Okay.
And a little bit shimmery.
Okay.
It might have like a tinge of kind of, I guess a darkness, like kind of at the edge of it, at the edges.
Okay. Give me a spellcaster check to maneuver around the door. At disadvantage because it's an ability check.
Which one's is that? The +9?
Is he trying to get the thing through the door right now? Like back out?
Yeah, because you guys don't have the door all the way open.
Yeah. Well, so I imagine we're kind of standing back a little ways. I'll draw my sword and just use the tip to ease it open a tad, just enough for it to come through.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna use an action point.
Even with a +9.
I got a natural 1.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's better. So that's a 16.
Okay. So you managed to get the journal through the door. It just barely grazes the door, but it doesn't seem to make any kind of sound that you can hear or notice. And then the journal lands in your hand.
So I'll put that in my pack right away. And then I'll go after the statue.
Okay. So you're getting the statue. Give me another spellcaster check.
Another 16.
Okay. So just as this is about to get through the door, Omerta, give me a strength check.
A strength check?
Yeah.
Seems odd. A specific strength? Yeah, I don't really have anything anyways. 6.
Okay. So there is a sudden flash of movement. Omerta, you are knocked back 10 feet as the door explodes open, and Marthau is face to face with this.
I don't know how I'm getting thrusted back from the doorway. I'm not even close to it.
You are between Marthau and the door.
Yeah, but he didn't have to be that close to it. I was step back with my sword.
Well, then the monster did it.
You suffered whiplash damage.
Sure did. There's just no arguing it. When the whiplash hits.
All right. Do you guys see this thing?
Yep.
Does the weird humanoid face inside look familiar?
Looks like a skull.
Yeah, there's a skull, but you see a familiar pendant hanging from the creature's neck.
Flamekeeper
Perhaps
alien.
Those of the Sir
But he's-
Stenson.
But he's so strong now that he can open the door, and the wind from the door knocks Omerta back 10 feet.
Well, it might have been the thing's tail flicking through and knocking him back. But anyways, Omerta, you're prone now, and it's initiative, which is an ability check. So
Yep.
those who have disadvantage on ability checks roll with disadvantage.
Oh, good.
Jesus fucking Christ.
See, I looked and I was like, uh-oh, a 5. And then I looked at the other one and I was like, oh, a 4. So that's a 9.
Oh shit! I should be ready. Hold on.
Also, just like a quick check. It's 11:30 Central, and we're starting combat.
Okay, that's a fair point.
Do you anticipate that it will be a quick combat, or will this be a slew?
You guys are just fighting the one, so I don't anticipate this taking a whole lot of time. But
Okay.
I've been surprised in the past.
Omerta, simply summon your devil that can destroy the giant ones.
Afraid not for several more days. We got to do this the old-fashioned way.
All right, so everybody goes before the monster. So you guys can tell me whatever order you want to go in.
Let's just go in our rolled order.
After this, if nobody's using that spear, I can use it. So I guess we should hand the spear off to me. But for now,
Do we have it on us?
somebody's carrying it.
Or did we leave it at the mansion?
I don't think anybody said who's carrying it, but nobody said that they left it anywhere.
Indeed.
So
It is kind of an important thing, so we probably are carrying it.
all right, I'm gonna 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so Martha, you're carrying it.
Sounds about right.
All right, so Colmar, you're up. Ivar and Exodus, or Omerta, you're in the hole.
Yeah. Can I put a fireball in the room and catch the beast from behind?
Yeah,
I mean, we got what we need, right?
actually.
Is the statue out of the room, or was it just about to come out of the room?
It wasn't even close. Like the hand was going back through the door, and then this thing, Flamekeeper alien, then struck.
Well, no, you rolled your spellcaster check well, so you maintained possession of the thing, and it got through the door before the monster came through. So you're probably still holding it with your mage hand. It's
Okay.
within reach of you.
Gotcha.
I mean, you guys don't know what else is in that room or on that shelf, but Colmar, you can very well fireball the room.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. It fails its saving throw.
That's 31 fire damage.
All right. The creature is burning and it is screaming. And even though it is a monstrous scream, there is a vague sort of undertone that you can recognize as Flamekeeper Stenson.
You can't fool us. You're dead.
All right, so that was Colmar. Colmar, are you doing anything else?
I'm just going to turn and make sure nobody's coming from behind us.
Okay. Nobody that you can see is coming from behind you, although their fireball was rather loud. So, Ivar, you're up. Omerta, you're on deck. Martha in the hole.
So I draw my gnome hammer and weave between everyone to get up to the thing and swing the hammer at it. That is no sharpshooter or anything like that. 22 with disadvantage.
That is
and then
Sorry.
And then I'm going to make an unarmed strike.
Okay.
As
So
an
22
extra
is
attack.
exactly what you need.
And the unarmed strike is pretty sure better. No, probably not quite as good. Yep, 24. So I hit with
Okay,
that
so
as
both
well.
hit.
My D6s. So that is 9 bludgeoning from the unarmed strike, and then 8 bludgeoning from the hammer.
Okay. The damage, it doesn't seem to do as much damage as you would expect. Additionally, is your gnome hammer magical?
No, it is not.
Okay.
I mean, it
And then-
strikes as a magic weapon because of my die points.
Okay. So you and Martha, because you're probably, well, maybe not.
Same for my
So-
unarmed strikes, by the way. They strike as if they were magical because of Kai.
Right. So Martha is just outside range, but the wounds that you create from this creature spray you with blood, and it begins to sizzle on contact. So you suffer 18 acid damage, and also your gnome hammer takes a permanent -1 to damage rolls.
So I shouldn't have attacked is the upshot of that. I did more damage to myself than I did to it, and now my weapon is
Hold on,
broken.
my thing is going in and out. Sorry. Hold on, let me reset this real quick.
Well, the good news is I can just go to the weapon store where I'm sure they have lots of hooked hammers.
All right, fuck it. We're gonna do it live.
Do it live?
Yeah, I'm not using my headphones. They're not working right now. All right. What were you saying?
That I shouldn't have attacked at all because I did more damage to myself than to it and destroyed my hard to replace gnome hooked hammer.
The creature still seems to be pretty lively, although it is certainly hurt and badly charred. The fire seems to be really effective in hurting it. Anything else you're doing, Ivar?
Nope. Just standing in front of it, questioning my life choices that brought me here.
All right. Omerta, you're up. Martha on deck. It's in the hole.
Yeah. Trying to figure out what I would like to do here. Look something up right quick. Okay.
While you're looking that up, can we have Martha go?
Actually, I got it figured out. I'm going to place one of my seals on him.
Okay.
And then I'm going to cast suggestion and tell him, tell the creature, whatever it is, please go to the center of town and leave us be. It has to make a wisdom save with disadvantage because he has one of my seals on him.
Oh, interesting. Suggestion doesn't have a requirement for creature type.
Nope. It just has to be able to understand me. And of course not be immune to charming effects. So
It's
just try it.
not. Interesting. It's just barely intelligent enough to probably understand at least a part of that. So let's see what happens.
I'm appealing to the Flamekeeper portion of it.
Wisdom save is 14.
That is not successful.
Okay. So what was your suggestion?
To go to the center of town and leave us be. And then I'll take a step back. Like
well, you're on the ground.
Well, I can.
You got to get up from prone.
Get up. That's not a problem. I can get up and take a step like out of its line of, out of its path, to the door out.
Okay. So the creature hisses, its double jaw kind of pokes out, and it's like viscous drool is dripping from it, and then it slowly retracts back, and then it kind of huffs and runs out through the door.
Martha, I want to do anything before it leaves.
Is there anything else on the shelf?
Everything's blown up.
Everything is blown up.
Yeah, Colmar fireballed it.
All right, then let's get out of here.
Agreed.
I was pulling the statue over, so like I would have just completed that and like packed it. stowed that.
Okay.
And
So
then
you guys got the journal and the action figure.
yeah. And then let's go back to the Handsome Mansion. This place is gone.
We don't know that everyone is gone in the guild hall.
If Flamekeeper Stenson is this way, I doubt that any other creatures will be much different. He wasn't a slouch of a person himself.
Yeah, he was. He was a scrub. I read the diary. He couldn't even perform miracles.
Hence the reason why he's in the state he's in.
Everybody give me a perception check. Martha and Ivar, it's at disadvantage.
Well, we're at disadvantage anyway.
16.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
13.
I got a 1 and a 2.
All right. Email coming to you, Tony.
This character doesn't often make good perception checks. Every once in a while. Either way, we're getting the fuck out of here, right?
Better be.
Okay. Then.
Okay.
That's interesting about suggestion. That makes it a very powerful enchantment for early level.
Yeah.
Depends on how you interpret that will not do anything that might harm itself thing. Sometimes some people will interpret that to mean like you couldn't order somebody to attack someone else because then they might get harmed. Some people do not interpret it that way. Some people interpret it as I'm going to jump off a cliff. You are absolutely going to die if you do this.
All right. So yeah, I'm the only one that hears that, huh? All right.
Yeah.
I'll just like finger up for a moment. Yes, I do believe it is very important that we leave as quickly as possible.
No arguments here. And then I just like run to the Elatrix.
Was there a similar behavior before that I saw at the grove of the big fucking tree?
Not specifically. No, this is pretty new.
Okay. Yeah. Some sort of communication, it seems. Let us move. And then, yeah, we'll get into the vehicle.
As you get to the Elatrix,
Okay, as we leave the house, Ivar looks down at his now damaged hammer and just disgusted with himself, drops it.
If you don't want to fix it.
Fix it how? I'm not a smith.
You have a hammer. Anyway, what do we see?
oh, come on, where is it? Oh.
Our Elatrix has evolved into a super Elatrix.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have to do my window.
Sounds like a personal problem.
It is a personal problem, and it's affecting you, so shut up. God damn it. All right. Try it.
See, but now we can't tell Brendan we killed Flamekeeper Stenson.
He lives to be killed another day. So you guys down.
Okay, so this is what you see beginning to fly above some of the buildings.
Jesus fucking Christ.
How many different variants of aliens are there?
However many people have drawn.
And that's where we'll end for tonight.
The next one will be that same flying one, but like with machine guns in each hand.
What do people think? God damn
Thought
it!
it was good.
Shit. What the fuck?
You suddenly can't hear us?
No, I can't hear us.
Can you hear us?
Now I can, because fuck these things.
Oh, that was good. Back to, back full circle. A little bit.
You guys clearly left some unresolved business there at Fort Deep Dark.
Yeah, it's just been kind of festering. Well, no, like actually, they did have. I believe that the aftermath of Fort Deep Dark was that, like townsfolk went in to go clear it out. Like after we kind of, freed the Dalkir and caused the campaign to happen. Like
Heroes.
Yeah,
Heroes of Fort Deep Dark.
there was some like some effort to like clean it up. So it wasn't just like we left this rotten fortress and by the way it's been spewing all over the land.
Yeah, you left a rotten fortress spewing all over the land and freed a Dalkir and told a bunch of other people to go clean that up.
Just a bunch of commoners.
And then somehow the sickness managed to make its way back with the commoners.
So I will say, after the original events of Fort Deep Dark, with the Dalkir gone, the influence of those plants and spores and everything diminished. But I will also point out that Umboros just added a super druid tree to his legion and has Petrie in some fashion. It is his knowledge or his spirit to guide the actions of a super druid tree. So
if we're lucky, it'll kill itself.
Yeah.
and then we should be okay.
I mean, there's a missile and there's a targeting system. So,
like, why is he? Like, I feel like he would get the wrong information, though, from Petrie. Like, he would be attacking some place where he thinks that there are werewolves.
Like, thank you for sensing.
well, why do you
Oh, that's true. He might actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. It could have been the Handsome Mansion, but no, it was Ironside, where Flamekeeper Stenson is.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that was good. The not so subtle clues gave us good plot reason to keep keep our newfound companion at least around for a little bit longer. So now we can have the disgraced war criminal amongst our ranks and at least be like, okay, we at least need you to
spew your essence into this fire.
all over these weapons.
There you go.
Yeah,
But
in
then you realize we have to wield those weapons.
Well, just touch. It's like a poison tip, but
I'm curious what the DM had in mind when he wrote down the essence of something of this person, because what else would it be?
Well, we know it's not. We know it's not hair and blood and skin. We know it's not the things that were already named. So it's
Right.
some other substance.
Maybe.
Yeah, in hindsight, that was a poor choice of word. I wanted it to not be easy, but I guess
you made it hard.
yeah.
I believe the word was engorged.
That's all right.
It'll be hard to forget the campaign where we had to convince the war criminal to ejaculate onto our ritual weapons / fire circle. But we had to, or else the entire world would have been destroyed.
That's
It was a desperate time, man.
Right.
That's a story that you pass to your grandkids.
Yeah.
That sounds like a bad pickup line.
It's like one of those. It's like one of those.
Baby. Seriously, it's for the greater good.
Yeah.
The end of the world.
It's like one of those disgusting historical facts that in years ahead they're just going to have to like forget and like write out of the history when they talk about the heroes who saved the world. Like occasionally people like, that they handled weapons that were covered in ejaculate, right? No.
That's not true. Who told you that?
I believe what I was programmed to believe.
Like that. I'm gonna figure out how to do something like that in my game. They give my players a ritual. They're gonna be like, why didn't the ritual finish? And they gotta figure out why, and then they figure out, oh, there's one more step. You gotta fucking
figure it out.
You gotta work it out, if you know what I'm saying.
No,
They didn't write that step into the storybooks.
I mean, you could have gone that one step further and like require that the hands of the heroes all help to release the essence.
One hero, one stroke. Two heroes, two strokes.
It's like that one episode of Silicon Valley, where they're trying to figure out exactly how many strokes they could do between all of them.
Okay.
It's a weird episode. I can't wait for Brendan to see this.
Yeah, if he hasn't watched it, we're gonna have to explain to him that we need his character to do this. I don't have to figure out whether or not he's using the spear or Ivar is. Ivar has a problem if he's not, though, because there's no weapons that we found that Ivar would use. So we didn't really find arrows. There were, but there were no hook hammers because they were all basically medium-sized normal weapons, and there were no arrows found. So
I remember grabbing a rapier.
right, but Ivar no longer uses a rapier.
That's not my fault.
Yeah, so it might have to be Ivar that wields the spear.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I know how to use it too, and I technically have a little bit higher of a strength.
Yeah, but I can, because it's a monk weapon, I can use dexterity for it.
Yeah. That's right. That is
Plus, I
handy.
also picked up a potion of giant strength, so I can have a 29 strength whenever I want it for an hour.
A fucking storm giant.
That's what the potion said. 29.
I'm sticking to it.
Crazy.
Oh,
All right, guys. Have a good night.
all right.
Yep.
Good night.
See you
Fun
later.
session, everyone.
All
See
right.
everyone in 2 weeks.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye.
That went off the rails a little bit more than I expected, but that was funny.
It's usually what happens.
Yeah, very true. Was not expecting Dustin to have Martha out kick open the door.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't about to let us split up and two people go into town. I was like, oh, it's colossally bad idea.
Yeah, and good thing for it because they would have encountered all this stuff on their own.
Yeah, and I really wasn't worried about how many other creatures it was going to call because we had a hard enough time killing one and trying to be sly about it. Whatever, just kill it.
By the way, good call reminded me about Colmar's immunity to poison and disease.
Yeah, I had to check on that. And then I was trying to find my notes from those early sessions. I did have a couple, so. Oh, we're picking up a player on Thursday.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So.
that's good. What is this going to be, the 10th one?
Oh, I got. I'll be right back. I got something to show you.
Oh.